Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Cookiecast. Today on Cookiecast, it's the NFL podcast Laces Out. We've got co-host Paul Williams and the stat mistress in the house, dropping the stats and dropping the knowledge. So, here we go. This is Cookiecast Laces Out. Go.
Still got some
Huh? And go. What?
What? Hey?
That's fine.
It's an interesting start.
One way of putting it. Some people, they come and do 1 week of the podcast.
Oh my God.
They run the show.
I recognise that guy.
That guy, not needed anymore.
I absolutely don't recognise that guy because I definitely didn't watch last week's. I just listened.
Stand him down.
Sorry.
So
sorry.
as
Nobody missed you.
as anybody who tunes into the football podcast will know, we kicked the football podcast back off this week. Mr. Williams, like a bear in the springtime, has emerged from his cave.
Hibernation.
His winter hibernation.
I love it.
His little, I've got to go do a podcast.
Took me ages to realise that when bears hibernate, they don't just sleep for the entire time. Because obviously that would be insane.
What do they do?
Well, I'm assuming they just hole up in a cave. Because I don't think anything could just sleep for 3 months at a time without taking in like fluids and.
But isn't that why
they don't
they
eat?
gorge themselves
Yeah.
and then they like drop like
They have to build
a
up all
third of their body weight?
fat.
Surely they must have to drink stuff though.
I thought that was the whole point. Their body
I'm
just
not-
shuts down.
I may have made myself sort of sound like an absolute tool in front of.
That's
Thousands.
got a little googly moogly written all over
It does, but I would have thought surely you have to drink stuff.
They don't come out though. So unless they
No,
take
they
in
go
some
in
bottles
and
of
then they
water, then
Yeah,
what?
they're just
What exactly?
They just do.
They're like there with a plastic bottle of water going, fuck the polar bears.
They're just like, oh god, this Evian is just tasty. Anyway, so yeah, I've come out of hibernation.
You've got hibernation, and I don't know how, but we managed to rope the stats mistress into doing it again. Maybe she got a taste for it. Maybe she was like,
We're this close to the end. I want
podcast take good.
I want
cut
all
the
that
action.
action.
Yeah.
Podcast take good. So we're here. This is Cookiecast Laces Out. I mean, there's almost nothing to talk about. I mean, there is the games, but the games are so few and far between now. It's like, and then this week, there's almost nothing to discuss. Now then, when we did this last week, we got it all
Yes.
the wrong way around, didn't we?
A little bit jumbled.
Because the stats reflected on all of the scores from the week. So,
Do last week's scores, then the stats, then this week's games.
I don't actually have the scores here.
Well, shut my mouth.
I know.
Oh, you're looking at bears.
I'm absolutely looking at hibernation.
Oh, okay. I thought you were disappointed in my lack of having the scores.
Oh no, turns out they absolutely do sort of just like haul up and just basically just go wild.
Yeah.
So,
Crazy.
the divisional round was 4 games, starting the week with the Titans versus the Ravens. Then moving on to the Vikings versus the 49ers. Then we had the Texans versus the Chiefs. And then we had the Seahawks versus the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
Weirdly, the Titans beat the Ravens.
If only we'd had money on that.
We're in a freaky world.
We're in uncharted territory at this point. I mean, to say the Ravens going to the Super Bowl was nailed on is probably a. But I mean, they've had such a monumental season. Lamar Jackson, a player who the NFL had to make statistics for because they've never seen a player like him. And we'll come to it, although I said that a lot last week and we never did. But the Titans beat the Ravens. The Vikings and the 49ers game, the 49ers beat the Vikings. Texans Chiefs, I mean, wow. I imagine there's going to be some statistics. Let's say that at the start of the game the Texans were pounding the Chiefs into the ground. However, not only did the Chiefs make a comeback, they made a monster comeback to win. And for me, one of those, I secretly hoped, as my predictions will reflect, I secretly hoped that the Seahawks were going to beat the Packers. However, I also kind of knew they probably weren't going to. And unfortunately, that is the case. The Packers beat the Seahawks.
They just kind of ran out of time in the end, really. If the game had lasted another 5 minutes, they probably would have been alright.
Did you
I
see
don't
that
know.
Wilson got a random drugs test?
No.
Yeah. I didn't read into it, so...
I heard a thing about random drug testing today on a podcast.
Interesting.
Random drug tests in the military. And how they only test certain people at certain times to see. It's like basically spot checking to see whether they have to test everybody. They just test, like, out of 20 people they'll test one, and if that one person fails, they'll test everybody. Yeah. It's a way to cut down on, like,
I think that's the principle across the NFL, isn't it? I think it's to do with a reflection on his improved season.
So it's not really random then.
No.
Very much a
maybe his
calculated
view.
test.
Who was it recently that refused?
Oh.
Somebody's refused a drug test recently.
In the NFL?
Yeah. It would be like OBJ, but it wasn't.
No,
It's someone like that.
I want to say Antonio Brown, but it obviously wasn't Antonio Brown because he's not in the NFL anymore. But it was somebody.
I remember coming home and telling you.
Yeah,
about
you were
it.
like, this person's refused a random drug test.
I don't remember hearing about that.
Yeah. Anyway.
So we're now at the end. There is this week's games. Then there's a break where there is the Pro Bowl. And then we have the Super Bowl. The teams that are left in this are they are against each other. Titans versus the Chiefs, the Packers versus the 49ers. We will endeavour to predict those games. I am sure we will get them wrong because I mean this has to be the playoffs this year has to be it's just throw a dartboard with a blindfold on because it could literally be anybody. Does anybody remember that team, the New England Patriots? That seems like a long time ago now. We watched Saturday's games on Sunday.
We did.
And we kicked off. I was checking the scores for the Chiefs game towards the end of the 49ers Vikings game and couldn't believe the score at that point in time. And then we sort of kept dipping into it. In our house, we struggle to watch a live game because it's more adverts than anything. And then when you watch it on Game Pass, those adverts are American adverts, which...
Yeah,
and you see the same advert over and over.
What's the one for some...
over again.
Over-the-counter medicine you could buy, but I think we've been through this before,
For,
to be honest, but all the side effects were just like...
Deep vein thrombosis. But all the side effects were related to bleeding. Like, if you start bleeding profusely...
From your ear.
see a doctor.
Profusely. Oh dear me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'll come to talk about, like, the Titans, because I think they're probably a team we need to look at.
Wild card of the
I think the 49ers Vikings, it was a bit like, so the 49ers won. Obviously the big upset at the start of the Chiefs and the Texans game, and then I suppose the Seahawks Packers game kind of went the way it was probably always going to go.
I didn't see any of it, but it was fairly level.
I don't know if there's anything in the stats about Marshawn.
A little bit.
If not, we'll have to be talking about Marshawn's chicken.
Yeah, counting his chicken.
Counting his chicken. He's at home
Count
right
your
now,
bread.
counting his chicken. Got to look after your mentals. Got to look after your chicken. Do you want to do the stats?
I'll do the stats before that.
Exquisite.
It's one of those people. It's probably going to be a bit of a quick one. There aren't any games to discuss, and I've already told you what happened at the weekend. So
Ain't all that quick. But the random drugs test, the person that refused it was Le'Veon Bell.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think
Well done, Le'Veon.
what I saw very briefly was it was his 5th random drugs test.
Right, okay.
It was
do you
like-
know when you refuse random drug tests, they put down that you failed because
Non-participation. Right, the stats. As the NFL's 100th season nears conclusion, this was the first time the round of 8 did not include Tom Brady, Peyton Manning or Ben Roethlisberger since the 2002 postseason.
wow.
Rodgers is the lone quarterback in the championship round who's won or even played in a Super Bowl.
Oh dear God. That's not the Aaron Rodgers one. That's a Brett Favre
Packers.
one.
Brett Favre one, but it's still a Packers one.
The NFC will be represented in the Super Bowl by the 6th different team in the past 6 seasons. For the first time since the 2015 Broncos won it, the AFC team won't be the Patriots.
Yeah, I must admit I have noticed that like it's very rare that the NFC team is the same in the Super Bowl. It's not been like that for ages.
Just before you go on, obviously you weren't here last week. Was it last week we were discussing about there are these various different rumours around, like, I mean, this is the time of year for Patriots rumours. They just fly around like nobody's business. But Brady has already said, I am definitely playing next year. Let's get that out of the way so
Not
we don't have to
retiring.
spend the next 6 months listening to Brady's not coming back. But there's this thing about Belichick. There's a lot of talk about Belichick going back to the Bills. Talk about him finishing up his career and whether he would want to finish his career at the Bills.
Interesting. I've heard talk about going to the Giants.
There's this thing about the Panthers assigning like coaching staff left, right and centre. There's this guy who's been living in a barn for a year, just like looking at the science of American football. He's their head coach now. They've signed a offensive coordinator today. They've made it official. That's everywhere. So I'm sure the Panthers will do a lot better next year.
Need a quarterback first.
Right, number 2. Jackson was the most talented player on the field Saturday night with 365 passing and 143 rushing yards, despite Baltimore's stunning loss to Tennessee. Still, he became the first person in playoff history to pass for at least 300 yards and rush for at least 100, his latest mind-blowing stat from a mind-blowing 2019 campaign. However, the presumptive league MVP also committed 3 turnovers.
I was saying about the Ravens game. I personally feel you can tell a lot by the way the players come out of the tunnel. You know, to me, every player should come out of the tunnel like JJ Watt. That, you know, he should have fireworks strapped to him when he comes out of the tunnel. And I watched when Lamar Jackson came out of the tunnel, and it was like, oh dear. That doesn't look like somebody who's come to win. That looks like somebody who's gone to a day of work in an office somewhere. He just kind of like came out. He was like swinging a towel around and stuff, and it was a bit like
Maybe he was getting like in the zone,
maybe he was,
but didn't.
but the zone was losing that game.
I mean, it's that thing in it is like, has he just sort of underprepared for it by thinking it's just another game, like, you know?
Was drinking his own Kool-Aid.
Well,
You know,
I
by that
don't,
point.
I don't think so. I mean, like, I'd like to think not anyway, but he might be like downplaying it because he doesn't want to overexert himself or anything like that, and like go the other way. And it has just flip-flopped and it's gone the other way, sadly. But
You mentioned
Who knows?
fireworks. Was it the Chiefs? They
ran
ran
out of fireworks.
That was
yeah.
incredible.
Yes.
They had to put it on the. They had to put
Let's
it
put
on.
it on the boards.
But,
We're really sorry, fans, but your team is that good. We've
run out of
How
touchdown
crazy-
fireworks.
how crazy is that?
Fireworks. I can't imagine any Chiefs fan was like, well, this is absolutely disgusting.
Outrage.
But this is what I don't
Big
understand.
refund.
So obviously, like, it happens at the. So whenever the Patriots score a touchdown, you might have noticed before they've got the Patriots who shoot guns off, so like that. And obviously, they do it as soon as the touchdown scored, and then if the touchdown gets like erased because of like the guy stepped out or something, or there's pass interference, they can't like just not have shot the guns
Take
off. So
it back.
Take it back.
they've got to reload the guns, and then the next down they just score a touchdown again. So it's like, so yeah, weird.
Number 3, Tennessee's Henry became the first running back to throw a playoff touchdown in 32 years, and first to rush for 180 plus yards multiple times in one postseason.
So I remember way back in the season there was talk about Henry being like the sole member of that team. Like he is that team. Obviously, Tannehill's doing very well. You know, he's certainly doing a lot better than he's done in previous teams. But Henry is that team.
Well,
And they were saying, how far is that going to get them? Obviously, it's got them this far. Is it going to get them further? You know, the Chiefs, presumably the Chiefs' defensive coordinator is going to be like, right, you see that guy there? You three go and stand there.
yeah, but that's the thing. You can't afford to do that. What I was going to say was, I thought it was quite interesting. I was saying to my friend who we were discussing the Super Bowl and stuff like that, and I said it's going to be weird that normally, obviously, your quarterback's always the heavy favourite for the Super Bowl MVP. And it would be a case of, if the Chiefs get there, Mahomes will be the absolute favourite. If the Packers get there,
Kelsey maybe.
Rodgers will be the absolute favourite. If the 49ers get there, Garoppolo will be the absolute favourite. The Titans are the only team who, in the last 4, who, if they get to the Super Bowl, their quarterback won't be the favourite for the MVP.
Oh, have you seen all the little pictures showing the teams that are going through to like the last round? And it's got Mahomes.
Quarterback, Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
But that's how it should be, because he's
Loads of
he's
people
literally carrying that
complaining.
back on his that back on his team, that team on his back. But the strange thing about him is, so everyone thinks that Saquon Barkley's like a really good running back. Yeah, obviously he's had a bit of a down season compared to his first season. There's a picture, they must have played earlier in the season, and there's a picture of them stood next to each other, and Derrick Henry's like almost twice the size of him. He's just
Huge.
he's not
Massive.
built like a regular running back. He is like a tank.
Massive, yeah.
It's just unbelievable. Like the
Bit of
the
a
thing
match
that
on.
the
back
thing
in
that
the
sort of
day.
like summed it up perfect for me was when they were playing the Patriots. I think it was either Jason or Devin McCourty tried to tackle him, and he literally just was like, and just stiff armed him straight over. And it was just it's like it is like men versus boys. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And unless a team can figure out a way to stop him, you're going to struggle to keep a team to
Well, that's
like
what they'll be doing this week.
under 21 points. So that.
You know,
It's going to be another shootout, because I don't think either team's defence is good.
the Texans clearly looked at what they needed to do to stop the Chiefs. Unfortunately, at the point that it was 21-0, it was like, well, this game's over. But it took that long for the Chiefs to go, okay, so we now need to do this, and then it just...
But it's that thing as well of like the Chiefs the Chiefs now, if they do go into like a hole against the Titans on Sunday, they can be like, well, it's not the end of the world, because we know we can come back.
Yeah.
They've done it before. They can do it again. So the game's never going to be over, especially when you've got Mahomes under center.
I was going to say, they've got the perfect quarterback to do it.
Yeah.
Continuing. Mahomes was stellar while out-dueling Watson at the weekend, becoming the first player in a postseason game to rush for at least 50 yards and pass for at least 300 and 5 touchdowns. Mahomes also joined Super Bowl 22 MVP Doug Williams as the only player to throw 4 touchdown passes in 1 quarter of a postseason football game.
And the weird thing about it is that's the second time this season that he's done that.
It's
absolutely insane. And they were both in the second quarter.
But I'd seen a video earlier today, or was it yesterday, where they've like cut together just like some of the throws from that game, and there's like throws where he's jumping in the air and so is the person that he's throwing to, and he's about to be tackled and stuff like that. There's one where he's thrown it almost like diagonally upwards, and the person he's thrown it to has got 2 people either side and has jumped like 4 or 5 foot in the air and caught it. Stuff like that. That's, they were saying on the commentary, it's like knowing that you can throw the ball, because in a lot of situations where he's being taken down as he releases the ball, knowing that you can throw it in a certain way and the other person's going to catch it makes a big difference.
Yeah. The Titans overcame the league's top-ranked scoring defence, Patriots, and offence, Ravens, in successive weeks. The 2 other playoff teams, 1988 49ers and 2004 Patriots, since the merger to manage that, eventually won the Super Bowl. Tennessee is back in the AFC Championship game for the first time in 17 years. The Ravens converted all 8 of their 4th and 1 attempts in the regular season, but were 0-2 for the same situation against the Titans. Sorry, 0 for 2. 0. Anyway, Wilson is now 0-4 out of 4 at Lambeau Field. Marshawn Lynch may have concluded his career with a flourish after scoring 4 touchdowns for the Seahawks in 3 games since returning to Seattle prior to Week 17. Rodgers, a Northern Californian native, is just 1-3 on the road against the 49ers, the team he'd hoped would draft him number 1 overall in 2005.
Nah, they went with Alex Smith. It was a much better decision. Oh.
Number 10, the Houston Texans remain the only one of the NFL's 32 teams never to play for a conference championship. Of course, with only 18 seasons to their credit, the Texans are currently the league's youngest franchise.
Panthers did it in the first season. Dicks.
Number 11, Kansas City and Houston combined for 52 first-half points, most in playoff history before intermission. The Chiefs became the only team ever to go into the locker room with a lead after falling behind by 24 points. They also became the first team to ever trail a playoff game by at least 20 points, then win it by at least 20.
Absolutely ridiculous is that stat.
Yeah, that game was bonkers.
Absolutely insane.
The most recent team to overcome a postseason deficit that large was the Patriots, who trailed Atlanta 28-3 in the Super Bowl.
Meh.
I don't even know what number that means.
51.
I don't know what an L was. 50.
L is L1. I think
Yeah,
it should be.
yeah,
51.
Devontae Adams' 160 receiving yards Sunday set a Green Bay playoff record. The Chiefs were the only one of the 8 teams playing this weekend that also reached the divisional round last year. The Chiefs also became the first team in postseason history to score a touchdown on 7 consecutive offensive drives.
So how crazy is that? I wonder if that's I wonder how many years it's been since that's been the case. That only one of the teams that made the Final Four the season before got there again. Well, it's been ages because the Patriots have been in 7 consecutive AFC Championship games, maybe 8.
I think I saw something that said it was 8.
Unbelievable.
Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce became the first player in the Super Bowl era with 3 touchdown grabs in 1 quarter of a playoff game.
Not happy.
No.
Didn't do it in Week 17, did he? Slag.
You have money on it.
No, I had the fucking league championship on it though. Bastard.
Kelce joined Dave Casper and Rob Gronkowski as the only tight ends to score 3 touchdowns in a playoff game during the Super Bowl era. Titans quarterback Ryan Tannehill has averaged 80 passing yards in Tennessee's 2 playoff wins.
How is that possible? And he's a winning quarterback in both games.
Well, they just run it.
It's just
They
ridiculous.
just run it. I think
But
I'd
that's
seen
insane.
there was something in the game, and like a third of the play was passing play. The rest of it was all on the ground. It's like
Absolutely ridiculous.
Find something that works, eh?
Yeah, I was going to say, pound the rock if it works.
The 49ers advanced to their 16th NFC Championship game. Only the Steelers have been to the championship round as many times.
Is this 16?
Hmm.
Jesus Christ, they must have lost loads of them then.
San Francisco quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo still has more Super Bowl rings, 2, both won with New England, than postseason starts, with Saturday being his first.
Awesome.
Well, there you go.
The 49ers have now beaten the Vikings 5 times on divisional weekend, a league record for dominance in any playoff round. And number 20, the final one, looks like a rested San Francisco defence was back to mid-season form after sacking Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins 6 times and limiting Minnesota to 10 points.
Yeah, they really love putting him on the ground in that game.
Did you see that thing that after the game against the New Orleans Saints, he was doing the interview in the locker room after, and then ended it with the I've only got 3 words for you. You like that? Because obviously that's what he used to say when he was at the Redskins. That was like his post game sort of pump up thing, like, you like that? And apparently after the win, Richard Sherman was asked, have you got any thoughts on the game today? And he just went, I like that, and just walked away.
Well, he's had a bit. Richard Sherman did a press conference this week, and it was very much because he was like absolutely best in the game. It's like you go look at your stats, look at the position, and tell me anybody that's better than me. And he was like, and then he just rattled off all of these stats. Like he was like, this, my name, every single point, my name, and it was like, dial it back a little.
Humble brag, yeah. But you know.
Speaking of press conferences, obviously the biggest press conference of the week was Marshawn Lynch going onto the podium and not saying, I'm on here so I don't get fined. It started out where they were like, so how do you feel about the game? And he was like, it was what it was. And like, how do you feel about your return? It's like, was what it was. It's like, 4 touchdowns in 3 games. What do you think of that? Was what it was. It's like, oh, geez, here we go again. You know, maybe change it up a bit, Marshawn. You know, come on. Are you done? Are you finished? We'll see what happens in the future.
See what's happening.
Fucking hell. And then he just erupted into this. Right, let me tell you something. Like, and then he's just been like,
I think he must have been really passionate about it because his words were just flowing.
Yeah, it's like he's taken the opportunity to just get a bit of knowledge out, and he's like, these young guys that are coming up in the league now, they need to be looking after their bodies, looking after their minds, looking after their chicken.
Mentals.
Look after your mentals, look after your body, look after your chicken.
What the fuck does that even mean?
Money.
And that way, when you get to a
keep an eye on your bread.
God.
When you can retire, you're in a position to be able to spend the money. And there was a point where I got onto Instagram and it's just video after video after video after video of snippets of him going, you got to look after your chicken. And little chicken icons and stuff. But yes, somebody who's notorious for press conferences and saying nothing, instead of actually talking about why he was there, was just like, let me tell you something. And everyone's like, legendary.
He's definitely usually a man of few words, isn't he? If any.
And there was one at the end to my last stat was the 49ers surrendered just 147 yards. A playoff team record during Super Bowl era.
Stingy. They have got a mean defence, to be fair.
Now then.
So.
Results? Or
last week's games? Results are in.
Must be results from last week.
So, what you guys don't know is what I'm about to tell you. Mr. Williams did in fact use the power of the text message to send in his predictions for the week. I had to go back to him, I'll be completely honest, I had to go back to him at another point and get his updated Super Bowl prediction. As you will know, we went through the Super Bowl picks and I think nobody could win.
No one can get a perfect pick as they selected at the start of the season. both me and Stu have picked the
I've got the
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
So we were
You're still
giving
in
you
it.
that as part of it, but we were like, as each week goes by, we will just predict what we think the Super Bowl will look like. Even when it gets to the Super Bowl is this, we will then predict elements of that. Now then,
I believe my updated Super Bowl pick was Ravens Seahawks.
Pretty sure I had the Ravens in there.
you didn't give me a winner.
Didn't I?
No.
Of who I thought would win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because we've obviously done.
Over Ravens Seahawks.
Yeah.
I'd have gone with the Ravens.
You would have done.
Yeah.
You'd have been wrong.
Anyway.
You
On
were
both
wrong,
counts.
bitch.
In the Titans and Ravens game, all three of us picked
The Titans. No.
the Ravens.
Oh.
In the Chiefs Texans games, everybody picked the Chiefs. In the Vikings 49ers game, two of us picked the 49ers.
Who picked the Vikings? Was it me? Oh, was it?
And in the Seahawks Packers game,
Oh, God.
everybody picked the Seahawks.
Oh, all right, so I'm not on my own on that one.
So, Paul got 1 point, and you and I both got 2.
But,
Oh, did it come down to the score
Ooh,
differential?
right.
We
Okay.
picked the score difference. Can anybody tell me what the score in the 49ers Vikings game was?
Well,
Was it the
the
Vikings were
Vikings only
held to
scored
10?
10. The Niners got at least 3 touchdowns, I think. I reckon it was 28-10.
I thought it was maybe 23.
I will have a look. If you can produce some content for the lovely listeners,
So,
whilst I have a little look at the old
Don't have
that'll,
would have been
that'll be
23.
really interesting, because there's a possibility that one of us
It's the winner.
has nailed it.
We went pretty close, but low.
We did go very
I was
close.
close. Vikings 10, 49ers 27.
It's 17.
So, keeping the roll
That's you.
for the season, ladies and gentlemen.
Ugh.
I went real low.
Ugh.
Mr. Cook wins with a 13-10 difference. So that's a win for me. The Stats Mistress is Super Bowl prediction was the Ravens versus the 49ers. So
Still
the
alive?
Still
49ers are
halfing.
still in it.
Yep.
However, she did pick the Ravens to win. So that's a no from me, I'm afraid. However, I went with a Ravens Seahawks Super Bowl.
No, you both picked the same.
And a Seahawks win. So there's a no there. Mr. Williams went for a Ravens Seahawks Super Bowl and a Ravens win. So that's a no there. So
It's a very silly, it's a very foolish thing to do.
we have 2 whole games to pick this week. Our Stats Mistress will double as our guest in this scenario.
Thank you.
Put Paul back in his rightful place
In the corner.
at the front. And who would like to go first?
Which game was first?
Titans Chiefs. Are you going to go with the jersey, or are you going to go?
I'm going with the Chiefs.
You're going with the Chiefs.
I'm going with the sensible choice.
Okay, Mr. Williams.
Yes, sir.
Titans Chiefs.
I mean, I'm going to have to go for the Chiefs. I mean, let's put it this way. If the Titans beat the Patriots, the Ravens, and the Chiefs, and then lose in the Super Bowl to whoever they play, that is arguably the best and then most crushingly soul-destroying end to a season ever.
It wouldn't be the first time we've seen something like that, though.
No, but yeah, Chiefs. I think I had this conversation the other day. I think that it's going to be a high-scoring game, but I don't think the Titans' defense can stop the Chiefs as many times as the Chiefs' defense can stop the Titans.
The Chiefs have got more weapons available on offense
Yep.
and a reasonable defense.
Their defense is piss weak at times.
At times.
Tara Matthews good.
The Titans, on the other hand, have
Derrick Henry.
Well, they've got Derrick Henry. it to the Chiefs.
They've got AJ Brown. To be fair,
Yeah.
he's not bad.
They've got Mariota playing out there somewhere as well. On the field.
Marcus Mariota should be
We
nowhere
saw him
near
on the
that
field,
team.
didn't we?
He
No,
is.
they were talking about the fact that he was suited up.
He is coming in as like he does get a couple of snaps a game. He's in for like trick plays, almost in a way that Taysom Hill is with the Saints. I think Mariota comes in for like the short yardage
Taysom
plays.
Hill, what position do you play? Yes.
Unrestricted free agent. Taysom Hill, apparently. There's absolutely no way he's not getting re-signed by the Saints.
No, there isn't. So that brings us to the other game of the week, which is the Packers versus the 49ers. Tell you what, I'll go first on this one.
Do it.
Go on.
What I want to say is, I want to say the 49ers.
Excuse me.
But
the Packers are good. They've got a really good team this year. They're managing to keep upright, unlike other teams who are just been riddled with. Say what?
What's that purple thing?
breaking news. Apparently, an arrest warrant has been issued by the New Orleans Police Department for Cleveland Browns wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. Beckham faces a charge of simple battery after footage emerged appearing to show him slapping a police officer on his behind in Louisiana State University's locker room following their college football championship victory over Clemson on Monday night. The Browns said in a statement, "We are aware of the incident and have been in touch with Odell and his representatives on the matter. They are cooperating with the proper authorities to appropriately address the situation." What's the betting this is going to be all about nothing, and it's just going to end up being
You slap
like
someone on the ass.
Yeah.
A police officer.
By the way, I have to
So a
credit
lesser human on the ass.
I credit the Sky Sports news.
Why?
for
I
the,
couldn't work out his mouth. Why was it purple?
It's just it was his mouth guard.
Oh, right, okay. I still owned it in.
No matter how much I'm like, I think I am going to put down the 49ers. I honestly think seeing
It's believing.
a Chiefs 49ers Super Bowl could be one of the best Super Bowls
Let's hope that it's not
for a long time.
Packers Titans.
Oh.
That's not a Super Bowl.
Oh. Which when we're sitting here, when we're sitting here next week, all three of us just crying and crying
I'd be
and
like-
crying and trying to get the words out. I'd be
Oh
like,
my god! I'm gonna take it one step further. The Titans beat the Chiefs, and then for some reason, on the very last play of the game, Ryan Tannehill tears his hamstring.
That's what Mariota.
Mariota has to play in the Super Bowl. The Titans go from ooh to oh dear God.
And Packers start the celebrations early.
Oh God! Can you imagine Titans, Packers,
Hands
Super
up,
Bowl?
who would be watching the Super Bowl?
I can't see any
said
situation
it.
where anyone's going.
I said it
Interesting that one.
when I was like, "Oh, thank God, the Patriots have finally been beaten, and we're not going to have to sit through another Patriots Super Bowl." And then I looked at the games for the following week and was like, "Well, nobody wants to watch any of those." And then I realised the error of my ways.
Brady come back.
All is forgiven.
forgiven.
One of you two needs to give me a pick.
49ers.
Mr. Williams, you're going Packers. I know what you're like. You've already told me. You said Packers all day.
So
every day.
at this point, I have to work it out based on what jersey I'm going to wear to the Super Bowl viewing in town.
So,
And I own an Aaron Rodgers jersey, so I would like to wear that.
here's the dilemma.
God.
I own an
An
Aaron Rodgers jersey. It will not fit me at
Die.
this point in time. I do not own a 49ers jersey
But
at this point in time.
Get on the
Oh,
phone to
God.
Chris.
that was
You're going to have to
Chris.
hook me up.
well,
Chris,
this is the
I'm
thing.
pretty sure he's got one.
So on Saturday I will be in town. I will be near a shop. I will be going into that shop, and I may be making a purchase this
So
this
I was
weekend.
like, oh man, I think I've got like a throwback 49ers jersey. I was like, hang on a minute, 49ers. I think I own a 49ers scarf. So
From the-
at the very
So you can just-
least
From the last Super Bowl they
from
won.
the last Super Bowl. They won.
Wow.
I was thinking about that yesterday, and I was like, where would it even be?
It'll be in the bag with my Middlesbrough scarf.
I'll tell you something.
Which is...
In one of the rooms.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a man who has been on the podcast before who might have a 49ers jersey in his repertoire. It does say 7 Kaepernick on the back.
Matthew 2T's Hilly.
Matthew, 2 teams.
2
All
teams.
Two teams.
All 2 teams.
Banned
So
from
are
the
you
podcast
actually-
Hurley.
Are you actually
You know who you are.
going with the Packers? Just
Yeah.
purely because of your jersey choice?
Yes and no. I don't... It sounds weird because obviously they looked awesome against the Vikings, but I don't think the 49ers are as good as everyone's making them out to be.
I think that they've managed to navigate their way very carefully through the season, winning certain games, losing games that you're like, well, it was X team,
Yeah.
beating teams where it's like, oh, you know, I'm pleased at that, you know. But I honestly think that this could be their first and last challenge of the season,
Yeah.
where they go up against the Packers and can't get it done.
Possibly. I mean, the happiest team when the Packers beat the Seahawks wasn't the Packers. It was definitely the 49ers, because the 49ers didn't want anything to do with the Seahawks again this season. Fair enough, they beat them in week 17, but I don't think they wanted to play them again.
No.
Because that last game was close.
I think I was saying at the time, I was like, if the Seahawks go through, that Seahawks team has got enough to beat the 49ers.
I'd quite like to have seen... I've never seen it where the 5th and 6th seeds made it all the way through the playoffs. So I'd quite like to have seen it where the 5th and 6th seed were playing off against each other in the NFC and the AFC. That'd have been quite good.
So, that now leaves us with our Super Bowl prediction. I mean, I can take what you've given me here as your Super Bowl.
Please.
So, for me, that would be a Chiefs 49ers Super Bowl.
It'd be the same for me.
And my winning team there would be the Chiefs for me. Yours, as you've correctly pointed out, would be the Chiefs versus the 49ers, and your winning team would be...
Also the Chiefs.
And Mr. Williams, you are a Chiefs
Chiefs versus the Cheeseheads.
versus the Packers, and your winning team would be
The Par Chiefs.
the Power Chiefs. I will accept that Super Bowl.
Right.
I don't think I've got a Chiefs jersey.
Get yourself down to that shop. Is it
No.
Expressions?
Expressions Clothing. Big shout out to Chris. Expressions Clothing.
You must have a Chiefs jersey.
No, I think maybe
I tell you a man who does have a Chiefs jersey,
Do you?
who's been on the podcast previously, wearing said Chiefs jersey. And he's coming this weekend.
Stuart Munchie.
Other one.
Oh.
The other one who came that week.
The good Matthew.
The good Matthew. Oh, Matt, I'm so sorry.
Toots' evil twin.
Oh,
The good Matthew.
We love you really, Matt.
We do.
Sort of. To an
We
extent.
just wish that you wouldn't take 45 minutes to draft the fantasy football team. There's no need. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, Mr. Moore has a Travis Kelce jersey, and I dare say he will be sporting it when the Super Bowl is on. If the
I'm gonna
if
have
the
to
Chiefs-
look into.
yeah, I think it's got to the point now where I'd actively like to own a Patrick Mahomes jersey. I think he's just that good.
Well, I mean, he's had 2.
Technically, this is his 3rd season, but it's his 2nd as a full starter.
He's had 2 really good seasons. This season is the season that if he wasn't legit, he'd have done really badly.
Let's put it this way: if he'd have stayed healthy for the entire season,
MVP.
I don't think it'd be nailed on, but it'd be a close one thing between him and Lamar Jackson.
It's one of those. That's it. We've done everything.
Well,
done and dusted. Tied it up.
See you later.
Yep.
Bye. Let's cut everything
Job
off.
on.
We'll reconvene in a week and we'll see how badly we got things.
We will
wrong.
reconvene in a week. I'm gonna tell you this here and now. There will be no Pro Bowl
Preview.
podcast because I once sat and watched the Pro Bowl, and that was enough.
See, I'm saved by this because the Pro Bowl is always the same week as the Royal Rumble, so I'm always preoccupied.
There you go. You've got an excuse. You said you wanted to watch it, didn't you?
I said that I've wanted to watch
The Pro
one before,
Bowl,
but then
The Pro Bowl was good. The season when they didn't do AFC versus NFC.
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand.
When they did it, where they just got to basically pick the teams, that was the best thing.
Yeah.
Although, obviously, teams were then annoyed when, say, like, there's an edge rusher who just goes and creams his own quarterback, and they're like, lads, can you not do that, please?
No veggies.
However, true to form, I believe there will be a Super Bowl preview
Oh, there absolutely will be.
podcast. So
And-
you guys will not miss a week of content.
And dare I say, that will be filled with some
the bets.
delicious betting,
The bets are going to be
tips and things like that.
everywhere.
Predictions, yeah.
We want you guys to send us your long shot bets. What colour your Gatorade's going to be,
Oh,
and who for
Who's
you
gonna-
is this year's MVP.
it's going to be a closely fought one.
I'm putting the book away.
Okay.
Put the book down. Put the Bernie back in the box.
I mean, we're done.
We are. It feels almost unnatural to say we are done.
Until next week.
So,
So, dare we say, 2 podcasts
I know,
left,
can you believe that?
and then we're done again for
So
another
basically, there will be a podcast this time next week where it will be us. 3. So there'll be next week's podcast where we
wrap up.
where we're like, this is what happens in the games, and this is your Super Bowl. The week after there'll be a Super Bowl preview.
Will we not do that all
I was gonna
about
say-
next week?
Surely we'd just do that all
Oh,
in
yeah.
one.
Because otherwise we won't have
Yeah,
a lot of
so-
content.
And then
a
there'll be a
post.
review.
So there will be a week where
So
there isn't an
there'll
NFL
be
podcast.
there'll be next week's podcast, and then the week after that there will be no podcast.
No podcast. And then
I'll furnish
post
you
Super Bowl.
with videos of me dancing with.
Oh my word! What we could do is, oh my god, you should video
Me dancing with no clothes on.
the VR of you playing AFL.
That wouldn't be much fun for anybody.
Oh, I'm going to bomb this.
That's not.
Oh, it's
Could-
just
could
fallen.
video it
It's-
of
the ball has
me
fallen.
playing.
The ball has fallen right in front of me.
That's
Apparently,
not funny.
you were saying it yourself last night.
I play.
I don't
Don't know how to play.
So yeah, tune in next week, and then not again until after the Super Bowl's finished.
Watch one of the other podcasts instead.
Yeah,
Or
man.
listen to a different one. There's going to be loads of podcasts this week.
In fact, I don't think
Almost.
you'll be able to find any podcast that talks about the Super Bowl.
No, don't be promoting other podcasts.
That's what I do. If you never listened to any of the podcasts that I'm on,
Don't watch
don't think
another
Andrew likes
Cookiecast
this.
podcast.
yeah, man, just tune into all of them.
Tune in to us talking about the menu for our Super Bowl viewing.
We mentioned it last night on the football podcast.
Yeah, and I was saying now I just can't seem to find.
The right choice.
Oh, okay.
Can never find them big enough.
Might know a man. Might know a man.
There you go.
Right.
Anyway,
We're
Thanks,
rambling
folks.
now.
yeah.
And until next time,
We're off on a ramble.
stay classy.
Laces out, people. Laces out.
Come on, Ramblers. Let's get rambling.
Ramblers,
Yeah.
ramblers.
All from there.
That'll be a rambler gambler.
So there we go. What do you think to that? Another one done. Another one in the bag. Another week of the season gone, and I'm afraid not many left. YouTube watchers, make sure YouTube subscribers like, care, comment, share, should I say. Everybody jump over to cookiecast.com. Check us out over there. Send us some love. So yeah, only a couple left of the season, a couple more podcasts to go, and then that'll be us done. We'll put this one back in the cupboard where it belongs. Until next week, I'll say bye, and I'll see you then. Bye.